Project Sentinel, Episode 19. The First Toss. 1. Clearing the slip. The Vigilant sat silent in Docking Bay 2. Its iridescent charcoal hull shimmered underneath the industrial floodlights of the Cradle. Captain Kray stood on the bridge, the soft amber glow of the new instrumentation reflecting in the command windows. All lines clear. Umbilical retracted and stowed, reported the tactical officer. Very well, said Kray, his voice calm and carrying the weight of decades of command. Cast off. Engage maneuvering thrusters. Steerage way only. Outside, the magnetic clamps released with a muffled groan of metal. The Vigilant drifted slightly, a few centimeters of black void appearing between the station and the ship's docking collar. With a series of precise rhythmic puffs from the reaction control system, the RCS ports, the warship began to back out of the slip. Clear of the Cradle superstructure, Alara's voice came through the comms from level 10. You're in open space, Vigilant. Departure vector is clear. Understood, Command, Kray replied. Ahead slow, take us to a distance of 5 kilometers. We don't want the station caught in the wash if the resonance field flares. The ship moved with deliberate care, RCS jets flaring in short bursts. The Cradle receded slowly, its vertical spine shrinking against the stars. Kray watched the distance counter tick up. 1 kilometer, 2, 3, until the station was a distant tower in the void. 2, standing in the deep. The Vigilant turned its prow away from the station, its standard fusion engines glowing with a steady, pale blue light. This was traditional thrust, reliable, understood, and slow. Using its standard propulsion, the ship moved with a predatory grace, leaving the massive vertical spine of the Cradle behind. On the bridge, Zahn and Bradley were secured at the secondary engineering station, their eyes locked on the resonance coil status. Payne stood behind them, monitoring the biotelemetry of the crew as they moved further from the station's primary shielding. 5 kilometers out, station keeping engaged, the helmsman announced. Kray turned to Bradley. The ship is steady. The deck is yours, Doctor. Give us the coordinates. Bradley nodded, fingers already moving across the console. The tactical display shifted, centering on the target vector. 3. The calculation. Bradley's fingers moved across the console, inputting the vectors for their first long-distance destination. The 3D map of Sol system shifted, centering on the target. Setting coordinates for the Pluto intercept, Bradley said. Targeting the high inclination vector, x negative 3.62, y negative 3.48, z 1.21. Distance from Sol Prime is 5.17 light hours. He looked up at Kray. Because of Pluto's 7-degree orbital tilt, we're skipping up relative to the sun's ecliptic. If our z-vector isn't precise, we'll land in an empty space millions of kilometers above the planet's north pole. Zahn checked the power levels, ensuring the internal reactors were feeding the localized resonance coil. The hybrid lattice is primed. It's starting to tune itself to the target coordinates. Captain, we're ready for the toss. Kray looked around the bridge. His crew sat at their stations, faces lit by the amber glow, expressions of mixed discipline and anticipation. Engineering, confirm the skip drive status, Kray ordered. Resonance coil at 100%, Zahn replied. Lattice coherent stable. Field ready to form. Kray took a slow breath. All hands, this is the captain. We're about to attempt the first human skip. Brace for translation. Secure all loose gear. Engineering standby. 4. The skip initiation. All hands brace for skip, Kray's voice boomed over the ship's internal comms. Secure all loose gear. Engineering, bring the skip drive to 100%. The localized resonance coil began to hum, a deep musical vibration that started in the center of the ship and radiated outward. Unlike the roar of the fusion engines, this was the sound of pure mathematics, a subharmonic frequency that seemed to vibrate directly into the marrow of the crew's bones. On level 10, Alara watched the Vigilant through the vertigo dome. The warship didn't just sit in the void anymore. It began to shimmer. its charcoal skin turning a brilliant translucent emerald. The space around the ship seemed to warp, the stars behind the hull distorting as if viewed through thick, flowing glass. "Command, we're at the threshold," Bradley reported. "The stone is at the water's edge." "Execute," Kray commanded. 5. The translation. The hum reached a shattering peak, then suddenly went silent. To the observers on the Cradle, the Vigilant didn't accelerate. It simply vanished, leaving behind a faint, dissipating ring of emerald light that faded into the black in less than a second. Inside the ship, the stars didn't streak. For a fraction of a moment, the viewport showed a chaotic, emerald-tinted non-space, the surface of the water, so to speak, as the stone skipped. There was no feeling of motion, only a momentary, dizzying sensation of weightlessness that was controlled by the mag boot's connection to the deck. Then the stars snapped back. The sun, once a massive, dominant presence, was now a tiny, brilliant needle point in the dark. Filling the forward viewport was the cold, ruddy tan surface of Pluto, its heart-shaped glacier reflecting the distance light of the stars. "Skip complete," Bradley exhaled, his voice a whisper. "Coordinates confirmed. We are at our location." We just covered 5 billion kilometers in less than a heartbeat. On the bridge, the crew sat in stunned silence, staring at the edge of the solar system. The skip drive had worked. Kray stared at Pluto for a long moment, then turned to Bradley. "Status?" "Field collapsed cleanly," Bradley replied. "No residual distortion. Lattice integrity 100%. The hybrid hull held the skip without stress. Payne checked the biotelemetry. Crew vitals stable. No neural disruption. The shielding worked." Zahn looked at the forward viewport. The distant sun was a pinprick behind them. "We skipped. We actually skipped," he said. Kray leaned back in his chair, a rare smile breaking across his face. "And let's see how far this stone can take us." The Vigilant hung in the outer dark, a new kind of ship in a new kind of universe. The first toss was over. The new journey has just begun.
This concludes today's SFDF log. If you want to ensure our signal remains strong across the sector, please hit the like button and subscribe to join the crew. Your support helps us keep the mission alive. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss a transmission. We drop new episodes every Tuesday and Friday at 1800. Until then, keep your mag boots locked. End transmission.